Tonight on CFTK-TV News, a local family speaks out over lack of justice, BC Hydro hosts open houses on the North Coast, and the latest on the BC wildfire situation.
Northwest BC's only television news team. We are CFTK-TV News.
Hello, and thanks for joining us on this Friday, June 13th, 2025. I'm Jaylene Matthews. We begin tonight with our news that's local to the Northwest. A powerful lightning strike is being blamed for a sudden power outage across Northwest BC late yesterday afternoon. Lightning hit hydro infrastructure, knocking out power to several parts of the region and affecting over 45,000 customers. Here in the streets of Terrace, traffic lights went dark, leaving drivers to navigate intersections without any traffic control. We saw growing congestion and slight confusion as vehicles cautiously made their way through. Retailers and local shops were also affected, with many forced to close or pause operations due to the outage. Hydro Representative David Mosher had this to say.
At 4:12 p.m. on Thursday, 12th of June, lightning strikes caused the transmission lines between Prince George and Terrace, which then split to Kitimat in the south, Prince Rupert further west, and north to Bob Quinn, to fault out of service, resulting in power outages to all communities between Vanderhoof and the west coast. Crews were immediately dispatched and began the repair and restore process. With customer numbers this large, once repairs are complete, we have to bring the communities back online in stages to avoid overloading the system. In this instance, all customers were restored by 6 p.m.
Residents are reminded to report any downed lines or hazards and to stay indoors during active storms. And the Terrace Fire Department responded to a late night fire this week, while they also got assistance from the Thornhill Fire Department. At around 11 p.m. on this past Wednesday night, 18 Terrace firefighters made their way to a blaze that was located on the 4500 block of Park Avenue, where they discovered that a boarded-up house was showing visible flames and heavy smoke. On the scene, fire crews applied water to the outside of the building, and after they managed to put out a large bulk of the fire, they went inside the building but did not find anyone. As of right now, the fire is being investigated and its cause is currently being treated as suspicious. In late November of 2023, 17-year-old Sebastian Moore was stabbed to death just outside of a residence that was located on the 3000 block of Clinton Street in Terrace. The RCMP's official statement on his death doesn't have many specific details on what happened outside of Moore being found north of the intersection with Lake Ellis Avenue and there being another young person that had to go to hospital with serious injuries. Moore's family has said that Sebastian was attempting to defend his cousin from her allegedly abusive partner alongside one of his friends, which reportedly led to the individual killing Sebastian and his friend getting stabbed. But Crown Counsel has reportedly decided that the individual would not be charged, despite the family alleging that the RCMP told them the evidence gathered would be enough to get charges laid. In response, the family is gathering public support via a Change.org petition, a Facebook group, and a GoFundMe, all under the name Justice for Seb, and they also have a plan to try and get a better result in the case.
After the verdict came in that it was a self-defense situation, it kind of put us in a position of saying that we don't think that's self-defense. So we're going to contest the verdict, and we hope that we can overrule what Crown Counsel has already said, because it's not fair that we don't have a fair trial throughout this.
In an effort to bring more energy and electricity in the north, BC Hydro is proposing to develop new transmission lines and infrastructure between Prince Rupert and Prince George, as well as some additional upgrades. BC Hydro says it's necessary due to the significant growth in economic development and demand in Northwest BC. They say the North Coast is seeing significant growth in many areas, including ports, mining, hydrogen, technology, and liquefied natural gas, and the potential demand for electricity exceeds the capacity of the existing transmission system. BC Hydro also says the proposed transmission system expansion supports BC Hydro's reconciliation objectives. They say they are partnering with First Nations on new approaches to infrastructure development, including an opportunity for First Nations co-ownership of the North Coast transmission line. Open houses on the topic in Northwest BC are going on now. Coming up next, an update on BC and Canadian wildfires. Welcome back to CFTK-TV. As wildfire season is now undeniably in full swing, CTV's Andrew Johnson investigates how BC and Canada are faring overall.
In Squamish, between Vancouver and Whistler, wildfire flames have come as close as 100 meters from homes and today smoked out a provincial park.
Campers at Alice Lake were asked to leave the park as of last night just due to the intense smoke conditions that they had.
But a break in the weather is providing fire crews an opportunity to get more aggressive.
We are going to be going full out on this fire to get containment while we have this window.
A familiar fight that's played out across Western Canada this spring. 35,000 square kilometers have already burned, primarily in Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. Year to date, 2025 is closely competing with 2023 for the unwanted designation of worst fire season on record.
My heart is with the communities, families, and individuals affected by these wildfires, and please know that Canadians across the country are standing with you. I know you're scared. Our government will continue to do everything that we can to help.
In partnership with several provinces, Ottawa is providing more than $100 million for the Fire Smart program, which helps homeowners and communities reduce risk. Canadians, including thousands of firefighters, are now staring down the peak summer months as federal officials release a new warning looking ahead to July and August.
Wildfire risk across most of Western and Northern Canada is expected to be elevated over the coming months.
Higher than normal heat is predicted this summer right across the country. In the fire-prone West, rain is expected to be below average.
The government modeling shows the highest danger of all heading into the summer is in southern British Columbia, an area that has been left largely untouched in May and June, while the prairies burned. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Vancouver.
The Squamish Nation says it has removed valuable items from the Alice Lake Longhouse as a cautionary measure due to the nearby wildfire. The Nation says 2 representatives were able to view the area by helicopter Wednesday and identify sites that may be at risk from the Dryden Creek wildfire. The fire was listed as 55 hectares. The mayor of Squamish says good progress is being made on the fire, which has led to multiple evacuation alerts. And in Saskatchewan, thousands of evacuees are allowed to return home this week. Those from La Ronge and surrounding communities can head back today for the first time since fleeing the fires. Allison Bamford is in the northern community speaking with residents and assessing the damage.
This was all retail space.
Scott Robertson drives past here every day.
My desk, what we called the trading desk, was just through that hole.
Staring at the rubble that's been his family business for the last 56 years.
I'm still in the process of processing, if that makes sense.
Flames tore through the iconic Robertson Trading last week, destroying a cultural pillar and popular tourist attraction in La Ronge that housed hundreds of furs, Indigenous artwork, and clothing.
Everybody feels the loss.
The Trading Post and Rona next door are the only 2 buildings within the northern town to catch fire.
My house still here? My truck?
Communities reopened to about 7,000 residents this morning in the Tri-City area of La Ronge, Air Ronge, and Lac La Ronge Indian Band.
Well, it's a little bittersweet, but it's awesome to be home.
And it's nice to see that, the town's still here.
Just north of La Ronge, this is all that's left of 4 homes completely leveled by flames at Eagle Point Resort. La Ronge's mayor says even more homes and cabins in neighboring communities were lost, But rainy, cooler weather means the area is out of the woods for now.
There's still going to be fire activity happening. There's choppers still putting things out, and there's activity to the south of us, but we've been reassured that the community will be safe.
Reassurance and relief for those hoping they don't have to leave again at a moment's notice. Allison Bamford, CTV News, La Ronge, Saskatchewan.
Turning to the weather, the sun rose at 4:55 a.m. this morning in the northwest and sets at 10:13 p.m. tonight. Tonight on the north coast, expect conditions to be slightly cloudy with a low of 7 degrees. Over the next few days on the north coast, expect a mainly sunny Saturday, then some clouds beginning to come in on Sunday, but no rain until the beginning of next week. Temperatures around 13-14 degrees, overnight lows between 9 and 12 degrees. Tonight in the Terrace-Kitimat area, expect it to be clear, with winds from the south at 20 kilometers an hour, gusting to 40, becoming light this evening, a low of 6 degrees. Over the next few days in the Terrace-Kitimat area, expect the weekend to be mainly sunny with maybe a few clouds Sunday, then a chance of showers getting into next week. Temperatures between 16 and 21 degrees, overnight lows between 9 and 12 degrees. Tonight in the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District, it's looking just a little bit cloudy with a low of +1 and a risk of frost. Over the next few days in the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District, the weekend looks mainly sunny with just a chance of showers Saturday, clouds coming in to start the week as well. Daily highs between 20 and 22 degrees, overnight lows between 7 and 9 degrees. Checking your highways around the northwest now. On Highway 16, there's construction work with a detour in Prince Rupert. There's also bridge maintenance, mowing, and utility work going on. On Highway 37, watch out for road sweeping, as well as bridge construction, frost heaves, and a material spill. On Highway 37A, there's a section to watch for falling rocks. And this is what the roads were looking like this afternoon around the region from the view of the province's highway cam. Still to come, the 10-year-old in critical condition following a fatal boat crash. Thanks for staying with us. CN Rail is taking Parks Canada to federal court, claiming the agency is holding up flood prevention work needed to protect its main line that runs through Jasper National Park. The railway says flooding on the Snake Indian River, which runs along the rail line in the park, could have catastrophic effects on service. The railway says Parks Canada is opposed to a proposal to use gravel dredged from the river to construct an anti-flooding berm. It accuses Parks Canada of stalling work nearly 8 years. We're learning more now about the 10-year-old boy in critical condition who survived the fatal inner tube boat crash that killed one other child. Here's CTV's Craig Krause.
Days after 10-year-old Lionel Hall was killed in a tragic boating accident off the shores of Kate's Park, his friend Ona Yushel, who survived, remains in hospital with what his family is calling life-changing injuries.
Ona has serious brain injury and he's still at the hospital, so it's too much unknown things right now because doctors are still doesn't know how his brain functions affected through after the injury.
A family friend serving as a spokesperson for the Yushel says the family remains in shock as their 10-year-old boy owner begins his road to recovery, beginning speech therapy this week.
Right now he is not able to speak whole sentences, so a few words. It's going to be maybe months or long, more than years time recovery. So we don't know yet.
A GoFundMe has been created to help the family navigate the financial uncertainty as they spend their days by his side at the hospital. This all comes after he and his friend were riding in an inner tube before a speedboat hit the pair, killing Hall.
The only thought that I want to hold is that they would have been laughing and giggling and smiling and not have known.
Hall's parents speaking to CTV News this week, reflecting on Lionel's life and the joy he brought to the world. And on Thursday, an update from police. There's been a new appeal for witnesses. North Vancouver RCMP say they believe people with crucial information have yet to come forward. The driver of the boat was arrested and released. No charges have been laid. And now, as both families grieve, the Ushels are hoping by sharing their story, it brings further awareness to water safety. Craig Crow, CTV News, North Vancouver.
An impressive procession in Surrey garnered a lot of eyes this week and is expected to continue into the weekend. Here's CTV's Martin McMahon.
Roars of engines filled the air as roughly 1,000 motorcyclists rolled up to the celebration of life for Rick Carnello at a Surrey banquet hall. A prominent Hells Angel and longtime spokesman for the outlaw motorcycle gang who died in March.
We are a bunch of nice guys and we enjoy riding motorcycles.
Well, they're trying to sell us off as a criminal organization. Quite frankly, I wish they would charge me with something instead of trying me in the media.
And while police might not have been on the guest list, that didn't stop them from coming to watch and document the gathering.
These events are important to police, not just in terms of seeing who's attending, but it's really important for us to see who's associating with each other. Affiliations in the outlaw motorcycle gang world are really important for police to see who's being supported by who.
All corners of the country represented. Quebec, Ontario, Alberta. Greetings exchanged from handshakes to hugs. A different image than headlines over the years about civil forfeiture and criminal prosecution.
Take a good, hard look at the table in front of you. Is that something that a gentleman's motorcycle club or any club would reasonably possess?
And while police acknowledge the bikers will be around for a few days, they insist the public has nothing to be worried about.
People are quite safe. There's nothing to be concerned about. If you see large groups of bikers, there's probably a very good chance that police are nearby.
Well, this funeral and procession are expected to be the main events this weekend. You can expect an increased presence of these bikers in Surrey through Sunday. Martin McMahon, CTV News, Surrey.
Turning to the markets now, Canada's main stock index closed down, along with U.S. markets today as investors became cautious following Israeli attacks on Iranian nuclear and military targets. The Canadian dollar gained a little bit. The price of gold rose 50.40. Oil gained $4.65. Natural gas was up 9 cents. Aluminum dropped $1.50. In Toronto, the TSX dropped 111 points. The Venture Index fell 0.6 points. In New York, the Nasdaq was down almost 256 points, and the Dow Jones fell almost 770 points. Still ahead, how one community is rallying to save a beloved tree. BC appears set to get a new provincial political party. Dallas Brody, the MLA for Vancouver-Kilchina, says she is the interim leader of the party called One BC, along with House Leader Tara Armstrong, who represents Kelowna Lake Country Coldstream. Both are former BC Conservative legislature members who had been sitting as independents for months. And Israel has launched brazen and broad attacks on Iran, which is unleashing more turmoil in the Middle East.
In what is being called a decapitation strike, Israel unleashed more than 200 fighter jets on 100 targets across Iran. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu ordered the operation to destroy Tehran's nuclear capabilities and trigger regime change.
Our fight is not with you. Our fight is with the brutal dictatorship that has oppressed you for 46 years. I believe that the day of your liberation is near.
The bombings come as the United States was negotiating with Iran to curb its nuclear program. President Donald Trump said he knew about Israel's plans and warned Iran to make a deal. On Truth Social, Trump wrote, "The United States makes the most lethal weapons anywhere in the world, and Israel has a lot of it. There's still time to make the next already planned attacks come to an end. Just do it before it's too late." Dozens of Iranians were killed, among them 4 top military commanders and 2 key nuclear scientists. The assassinations involved months of planning. This footage shows Mossad agents smuggling drones into Iran before their launch. On the streets of Tehran, demonstrations erupted as people supported their president, who called for revenge. Israel will regret its foolish actions, said President Masoud Pezeshkian as he launched a counterattack. Canada's foreign minister didn't take questions on her way into the National Security Council meeting. But on social media, Anita Anand urged all parties to refrain from actions that further destabilize the region. Words echoed by other leaders.
It is obviously a rapidly evolving situation. This was a unilateral action by Israel. So I think it is now crucial for many allies, including the United States, to work as we speak to de-escalate. I know they're doing that.
Citizens are speaking up in hopes of saving a beloved tree that's bound to be chopped down in order to make way for a splash park. Here's CTV's Brendan Strain.
We demand that the citizens of Victoria be properly consulted about chopping down the sequoia.
Hundreds gathered today at a rally in Centennial Square, just outside Victoria City Hall, in an attempt to stop redevelopment plans.
And put up a splash pad amounts to somebody's vanity project.
There are currently 2 petitions circulating to save the fountain and the massive sequoia tree in the square, garnering more than 6,000 signatures for one and 2,000 for the other.
It's actually a youngster. These trees can live till they're 3,000 years old.
Planted in the 1980s, the tree is just one of many that will have to be cut down to make room for the new vision of the square that was passed through council last July.
Certainly a project of that size is not quick, and so it'll unfold through the design phase and then into the following phases, I think, over the next couple of years.
The mayor says the project is a go, and there's no turning back now, although those who want the tree saved have an ally on council.
There's still an opportunity to not take down the sequoia and also to change the plans for the Centennial Square so it's not so expensive.
The total cost of the project is estimated to be more than $11 million. Many question if now is the right time to be spending that amount of money on a beautification project.
No, the citizens don't think that spending $11 million on ripping out mature trees and putting in a cement splash pad is a good expenditure of their money.
Clearly there are a number of conversations happening around priorities for sure. There's room to maneuver, but the council's made its decision, and unless there's some other decision that's made in the future, which certainly I don't anticipate and isn't, to my knowledge, anywhere on the radar, it'll proceed with that budget.
For now, the sequoia tree's days are numbered. Although these supporters of the massive tree are vowing to continue to fight to save it from a chainsaw. Brendan Strain, CTV News, Victoria.
That's our news for now. For more local news, visit us at cftktv.com. All of our newscasts also go up on our YouTube page. Catch Week in Review with Kale Maslin over the weekend, and we'll be back on Monday. Thanks for watching.